Hi Stampers, this is Karen Phillip. I'm a Stampin Up Demonstrator and I'm pleased to show you how to do this technique today, and I am calling it Blend and Spritz. So what we'll be doing is blending and spritzing on paper to get these fish so they all look differently, and also there's a background behind these polka dots that is also blended. So let's get started. You will need, I'm using 4 different colors. I am using Parakeet Party, Old Olive, Tahitian Tide, and Pacific Point. And the blending brushes work very nicely for this. The background is Tahitian Tide, and then there's a blank piece. And in your kits there are a couple different blank pieces. One is 4 by 5 1/4, and there's should be one that's the full sheet, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is the bigger piece is what we will be using to get our color palette. So I like to start with the lighter color first, and I'm just taking my ink pad. I'm using the Parakeet, and this works very well for the blending brushes if you just take your any ink block and placing the ink on your block. You can use the refill too. Just put a couple drops, make sure I got the right color. Yeah, put a couple drops on your block as well, and then that will pick up the ink. Just want to make sure I did that right. Yes, I did. Okay, so I'm using the blending brush, grabbing the ink, and because of the nature of this, it doesn't matter if you stamp off or anything. You kind of don't have to. Now, because we're doing 2 different sort of techniques on one sheet, the first part will be doing the stripes that are going to go underneath the polka dot right here, and then the other will be the punch out for the fish. So I'll do the stripes first, and just a couple inches, doesn't have to be anything big. And so it's just a stripe out, I don't know, a couple inches. Just put a little bit more here. Okay, I'll ink it up again, and now we will do the other side of the paper and randomly go in circles of the lighter color first. It sometimes works better to see what you're doing with the lighter color first. You can grab your ink from the ink pad. Nothing wrong with that, like this. You want to tap it. You don't want to rub it because that could ruin your ink pad. So we have our Tahitian Tide. I'll wipe these off later. Parakeet Party, I'm sorry, the green. Next I'm doing Old Olive. I don't want to do a lot of Old Olive. I can use the same block because it's the same color family and this color is darker. So now we will use the Old Olive. And again, we'll do our stripe first. Looks so dark. I'm doing my stripe first. And now I'll do my, not quite as much, over the top of my Tahitian Tide. Grab a little from here. And it's not going to be pretty, but that's okay. Alright, now we will now we'll use Tahitian Tide and take another block. Okay, and I'll use another blending brush. Do my stripe first. Some of them take a lot of ink. There we go. And now I will do my other side. And this is where the fish part comes in. on the green here. Okay. And the last color will be the Pacific Point. Again, I just re-inked this, that's why it looks so dark. Do the top part with our stripes for our left side. Okay, and then we will do some random colors. And you don't want to fill it in completely, you want random. That's the kind of the key to give so they look different. Okay. Now we are going to cut our piece. I'll use my paper cutter. We're going to cut off 2 inches, this stripe side. We're going to cut off 2 inches. And that will set aside. And then the other piece that is all circles, you can see the difference of course. We will take our spritzer, and it's just filled with water. Rubbing alcohol does not work, I found. And we're just going to lightly spritz it once, 2 if we miss. So we're going to spritz it, and kind of missed on one side. There we go. Now it's all curved, and you want to wait till it flattens out because then it will be dry. So in the meantime, while this is drying, I don't know if you'll be able to see, you might be able to. So there's like right here especially, you can see what the water does. It leaves like little specks, and that's the look we're going for, because the specks then will just give a little more character to our fish. So let that sit and dry. And if you saturate this too much, what will happen is it will stay wet for very long, for pretty long actually, and when you try to punch it, it'll jam up your punch because the water or the paper becomes kind of mushy, and then it's not solid enough to go in your punch. Speaking of punches, this is called a Fish Builder punch. It's in the big catalog, our annual catalog, and it does have it is a bundle. It's called Fish in a Wish, but I don't have that set. Okay, so this is still drying. I can feel it's tacky, and that's okay. We're not going to use that yet. So while we're waiting for that to dry, we can start to assemble this part of it. So I'm just taking my Tahitian tide and then the piece of white, just plain white, and we will attach that to the card. And then I'll put this over here so it doesn't look so messy. Then we will take our this is the Parakeet Party, and I put it through the 3D Hive folder. And alright, where's my glue? Right in front of me. And I'll glue this one on because it has all of the texture. You could use either side, again, just to add a little bit. Okay, then I have another piece of white that is, and all the dimensions will be on the website. This one is 2.5 by 4.5, and it's embossed with the painted texture 3D embossing folder. Now I'm going to tear some of this, so I'm going to tear it toward me so that it gives that ragged edge on this side. Then we will take our striped piece, and I'm putting the darker to the right and the parakeet to the left, and our polka dots, this is from the Spots and Dots embossing folder, and we will just attach it to the back like so. And we will just put a little glue here and there. Doesn't have to be real good. Okay, and then we'll just line it up so that it's even on the bottom. I like to stand it up, that makes it easier to line up. And that's how we get that that gradient look. I don't know if you can see it. You'll be able to see the picture, but it's darker to lighter. And then we will take the piece that we tore off and attach that to the front. And this doesn't have to be lined up with anything. I just took it so that I have 3 rows of dots, and it's going to have a little bit more, but that's okay. And the top kind of lines up, kind of not. So you can see it's not even. And then this piece I will put flat. And that goes on a different kind of an angle here. It's actually more straight. Put that on there like so. Excuse me. So now our piece is dry because it's flat. So I will take it and punch out our fish. Now you want to make sure that you cut out the fin too. You'll need the fin. So, and you don't want to go, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see. So I'm making sure that a little bit of this is overextending. If you don't do that, it can get stuck and jam up your punch, which is not fun. So there's my one fish. I'll take a different color pattern over here, and here'll be the other one. Again, leaving some of that so it's not right on the edge. 2, and it looks like the other one. And then we'll do this one here, and then we have some left over, and we'll do a little one, and he can go on the inside. So I'm just doing the little guy, and he's right there. So that's how we get all the different textures on the fish. So I'm using 3 of them, attaching them with dimensionals. Okay, and poke tool. Take your pick tool. Actually, it's not a pokey tool. Just used to calling that from back in the day. Okay, we put all those on there. Just 2 on each. You don't need to go crazy on this one. Okay. And we'll attach these to our card. Just right on the front here. You can go the same direction or go random. Oops. This one will go here. And then their little fins, I have some glue dots, and we will put them on with the glue dots. You don't necessarily need these to pop up completely, but this still gives it a little bit of dimension because the glue dots give it a little bit of height. Okay, and because it's from different parts of the paper, it shows up. Alright, one more here. You can do any sentiment on this one. There, and now you can see that it has the little fins. And then the inside, we'll just get our little fish. That'll get just glued on. And then for the sentiment, I did, since I didn't have the fish sentiment, I use Whale Done. And some of my ladies are pretty funny. And I'm using this stamp that says, "My love for you is bigger than the ocean." Kind of Valentine-y. And they were laughing. It's like, oh my gosh, my husband would think that something's wrong. So I thought that was kind of cute. But any sentiment will do. And I just set that right here. And just on a little 1/2-inch piece of paper, or cardstock. So that's it to make this card. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.